Hey y'all, it's the Evolutionary Change Coach with episode 6, part 2 of abuse. That is the episode for today. Now, I did post part 1. I posted that yesterday. So I'm gonna post part 2 today. So I'm trying to remember where I left off, but always make sure you have a notebook whenever you are. If you are not watching my videos, just please make sure you have one, because if you are making any, wanting to make any kind of changes, and you are on that journey and you're, trying to make adjustments and really just move past what you outgrew. That is all you are actually doing. If you truly outgrew it. And even if you didn't, now is the time to help you to do it so you can fully actually grow. A lot of some people out here, they just age. They don't actually grow. Some people are stuck in a time or in a traumatic area or part of their life, and they grow, they age, but mentally they don't grow, or they stay stuck in that past situation or area where, for certain circumstances and the certain things, your past really does not define who you are. And a lot of times, people will try to use your past against you to, to belittle you and to hinder you from actually moving forward out of those experiences as a person, because they can unlock a whole lot of different things just for yourself, not, for anybody else, just for yourself. And a lot of people don't want you to do that. A lot of people do not want you to do that. So you really have to be prepared to honestly be alone sometimes when you are doing anything that considers or that has anything to do with making changes. Because, like I said, the last episode 5, was about evaluating your friends and your family and your hobbies, just things that you may have been doing or partaking in entertainment or entertaining, is actually a reason for why you either experience certain things or why you are missing parts of yourself. Anyway, like, I just recently watched Inside Out 2 with my son the other day, and that is a great example of how at a certain age, sometimes, even if you haven't experienced any levels of, abuse or neglect or anything like that as a child, once you hit puberty, like that age, you actually lose your core, like your actual the person that you are at the core. Some people don't never actually lose that. Some people do. Some people actually have always operated out of their core, regardless of the imbalances of your emotions in your body and your, in the world around you. And if they don't actually, if the people around you never actually knew who you were at the core, or a lot of times they did, and they tried to just, belittle you because they knew who you were as a person. Sometimes we put ourselves in situations because we were trying to fit in. We were forcing ourselves in spaces we didn't necessarily need to be in. Like, think of, like, I just want you to think about it. Majority of us that have actually a really, really, giving personality, or you're a really nice, genuine person, you've always been that person. A lot of times you've always been that person. No matter what happened in your life, you've always been that person. And even if you didn't, and you might have stumbled somewhere along the line, or because things a lot of times things are either they're not put up or set up for you to be in a particular headspace, or to be looked at in a specific light. Then you just don't know. Like, the world is a very, very cold and hatred place. Granted, there are people out here like myself, or what I'm saying, like you, that genuinely are nice. You're a genuine, pure-hearted person. You're kind. No matter what somebody has done to you, or did to you, said to you, whatever, you are still a actually nice and genuine person. And you've always been that person, regardless of whatever. Even if you did actually, spaz out on somebody, and you actually, did give somebody a piece of your mind, 9 times out of 10, they deserved it. And that person know they deserved it. However, they're gonna go out here and try and create a different narrative, because you have people out here that like to be in a victim mentality at all times, because they see the benefit of being a victim, or they become an attention seeker. So that is what they are looking for, the attention. And it's not to say that they don't deserve attention, because we all want some level of attention, or affection, or love and appreciation and support. However, you gotta know that's in you. People treat us how we treat ourselves. And a lot of times, depending on who you are as a person, it actually doesn't have anything to do with you. A lot of people operate out of their insecurities, or the or just the parts that they never actually healed from. So they they project it onto you, or onto everybody else that they come into contact with. Like, listen, I've had, anybody that I've actually ever came into contact with actually had the same level of trauma, or anything that I had, or that I experienced, or know the feeling of. They have too, which makes you an empathetic person, which actually helps you understand them in a different light. So you tend to let people slide, because you know who they are. You know why they're doing what they're doing. You know why they're the person that they actually are, which some of it is not fully their fault for why they were that way. However, it does not give them the right to treat everyone else like they're less than, or like they're beneath them. And a lot of times that is what happens. Or they get to a certain status, or because of their looks, or if they have more money or whatever, and they try to abuse that, or and use that in the wrong way, because they can. Just because they can. There are people out here that literally uses their title and their authority in the wrong way. We see it all the time with cops where they abuse their authority. A lot of times, you know, a lot of these cops were already bullies, or, they come from a home where that was what they saw, or they come from a line of, cops that were abusive to their mothers and to everyone else in their family, and it was like a domino effect, because that's what they saw and that is what they think is right, because that's what they were raised to see. And sometimes it's not until they come out of that and then they realize that that's not how life works. And then but then they still have that power struggle. Like, we have actual bosses and managers that literally use that title for the wrong way, in the wrong ways, or just because you are a manager, there is still a way that you're supposed to, what I'm saying, speak to people, or how you talk to people, and that matters. That really does matter. And a lot of times people don't realize that. Like, this world is ran by customer service and people who, service you at the end of the day. And you have so many that are not positive. They're not, giving. They're not open and, bubbly and all that. And they are the face of that company, or that or that office or that building or whatever. They're the first person that they see, that you see, or the first person that you talk to on the phone, and their attitude is mean and nasty. Why would you want to do business with people like that? But then they feel just because that they have their job or their title that they can do that. And me being a person that has worked in customer service and literally any type of service, period, I've never been that way. Even on a bad day, I've never been that way. I've dealt with some of the meanest and ignorant and hard to work with customers, and I've never done that to an actual customer. No. Have I actually, clapped back at a few of my managers? Yes, I have, because there's also like an age difference, where when you're in certain work, certain lines of work, a lot of times nowadays anyways, a lot of times the managers are actually younger than you, which is like crazy. Well, it's not crazy because I actually understand it, and it's not a difference, but it becomes a power struggle, right? Because especially when maybe the majority of the staff is a little bit younger anyway, they're younger, and they're actually maybe like older than the majority of their employees. And then you have, the occasional older employees that are older than everybody plus the manager. So that becomes a power struggle as well, because you have the older employees that feel like they're not getting paid enough, and the younger employees are getting paid more than them, and they've been there longer than them. And it's like, and then they do petty stuff to try to get someone else fired. That's still abusing your power. That is abusing the title, or you're using your age to abuse that. Now, me as a person, just because you may be younger than me, I understand, you're the manager, you are the superior, so you can, what I'm saying, you can tell me this need to go here or this need to go there, but there's a way that you do it. Because me being older than a lot of people, I don't even, first, I don't look it, I don't sound like it, and I don't act like it. I don't talk like people would think that I do, and I don't react the way that people think that I do, and I'm nothing like the way people perceive me to be. Majority of people think I'm a, I was a teenager like their age. Until they realize, or in conversation, I'm like, oh no, yeah, I got 3 kids, and they're like, wait, what? You got 3? You? Yeah, I do. so then, so then it becomes a better environment because I know how to adapt to people. I'm adaptable, but that came with time. That really did come with time, and it also came with I had to realize at another, at a younger age that I've always been different than the people that I was around. Granted, we shared a lot of the same traumas, or I understood them on a different level, but maturity wise, I've always been more level headed, or more or I just knew there was just certain things that you didn't do, or certain things that you shouldn't say, or how you should just, not everything requires a reaction. And that's hard for a lot of us to understand when people are constantly either picking, or they intentionally are doing things to get a reaction out of you, or get a rise out of you, or to see what they can do, or you give people more, or you allow people to do more than what you even deserve, or what you already know that they shouldn't have been doing, or that they did anyway, and they still try you, and they still do all these things, and they pull on sympathy, or they pull on your heartstrings as a person, because they already know that you understand them, and they already know that they know why you're doing they already know that why they're doing what they're doing, and you've already gave them passes, so people continue to think that they can do it over and over and over and over. But when you cut all that out, you're still the bad person, when in all reality you weren't even the person that you weren't even supposed to be hanging with those people. Like, I've actually had that happen to me in when I was in high school, and I actually hung around one specific girl group, and I actually been friends. I was hanging around them even in my adulthood. However, it's like sometimes you reflect, right, or you pick up on things. If you're an observant person, and if you're somebody that has been through a lot of abuse, and a lot of different forms of abuse and things like that, you are a lot more reserved, and you are a person that is a lot more observant, and you are a lot more cautious than everybody else, because you kind of either already know that everybody else, that the people you're around either isn't that observant, or you know what I'm saying, or just for your own benefit, you need to be. So I was like that, and it's like you pick up on the little things that you ignore, right? You ignore those things because we're taught, loyalty, right? Girl code and all that stuff. And girl code is, you don't tell each other's business. You don't, you're not supposed to let your friends, stay the night with a nigga that they don't know. When you go out drinking and all that stuff, you got to make sure they get home and all that stuff. You don't leave nobody. You just don't leave people in crazy situations, or it's just certain things that are not supposed to do that people actually was doing that you don't do, or that you knew you weren't supposed to do, or so. And then that also has you either being bullied or teased and things like that. Like, I was actually teased because of, I don't even know if you can see on here, because I don't know why my screen be like hella dark some days. Let me see. Yeah, I was teased because of my mole right here, and I was actually teased for my crap as well, but I'm over that now, because it is what it is. It's me, right? It's me. It's me. And I learned to embrace who I am as a person. Like, I don't look at people, I've never looked at nobody else as a competition, or, I was never envious of nobody, jealous of nobody, none of that. Because there was no shade to nobody, but at a certain age, I've always had something, you know. When I was smoking and everything like that, if I didn't have money for the weed, I had money for the reps, and if I didn't, and then whenever I didn't have the money for the weed, when I did get it, I was the one that was buying because I was smoking with them. So why would I not, right? But as time went on, I started realizing with certain motherfuckers, when they had their own money and they had you didn't even see them until they didn't have it. Until they didn't have it, and then they would come around, or whatever the case may be. Like, I actually have people that, like I said, I've been around these a small group of women, and when I was in high school, people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, wait, why you hanging with such and such, or why you da 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 da?" And I don't know if people was doing that behind my back when they was asking them, but however, and I'm just like, "Oh no, she cool, she da 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 da," and and even then, I never even took it as, oh, like, I never took it as I was better than anybody. I just was like, oh, well, yeah, no, that's not how that go, or no, she really cool, she did it, right? And whole time people were biting my back out when I knew they was, getting into all kinds of craziness. Just like I did get into some things, like and I said it in part one of this video. So that's why I said I don't really remember all the way where I stopped at, but yes. So being abused, whether it is verbally, emotionally, mentally, sexually, financially, really puts you in, will really have you putting yourself in dangerous situations or circumstances, and and can really bring on a different energy about yourself, or just have you labeled in the wrong way when you weren't even guided to not be down there. You know what I mean? To not go that way. So I've always became, or not always, winded up being an advocate for people who were being abused. Like, there was this one girl that we hung around. Everybody talked about her, and I knew, but I never, you know what I'm saying? I don't judge nobody. Everybody got a life. Everybody, you know what I mean? It's, people do what they want to do, or what they, like I said, if you are not taught a certain thing, or if you're lacking something in your family life and in your family situation, you're kind of going to be doing things to get here, or to fit in over here, or to do this and to do that. And it got to be in you when you got to sit with yourself and say, well, why am I doing this, right? Do these people actually like me, or are they just benefiting off of me? Or are they, that you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself those things, because that is how you take accountability. That is how you are going to be able to acknowledge what has happened, what is going on, what did happen, or what didn't happen. That is how you take the responsibility and take your power back. That is how you are going to be able to move on freely in your life, and from your past with strength and confidence. And like I said, everybody has insecurities. There's not one person on this earth that don't have one, with or without money. You're going to see people with more money than you are actually going to be insecure about you, about little old you. And a lot of times you see that. Look, we see it every day, right? You could have more, like I said, you could have everything, right? And you can see somebody on the street that is homeless, that don't have nothing. And instead of them saying, oh, well, wow, I wonder how they got like that, or I wonder what happened to them, they're, oh no, they don't need this, or they don't need that, or they need to get a job, or they need to do this, or they need to do that. Like, huh? And these are people that you either, like grew up with, that you actually kind of like know their life, their story, their whatever. And for other people to look down on other people, that bothers me. That makes me distance myself from people. So I've been doing that for a very long time. That ain't something that I just started. That's not, no, I've never, no, that's not it. Like, you can't just be out here bullying people. I'm not gonna say that I never did bully somebody once, because I did, and I felt horrible about it after the fact, because I knew what it was like to be bullied. And the crazy part is me having a daughter, and my daughter experiencing that at a very young age, and coming out of all of those things to kind of turn around and be a bully now is kind of crazy. So I'm like, trying to reteach her as well, because it's a learning process. It's just something that happens because after you being bullied for however long, and especially if you were already being bullied at home, and some in many forms, and then you're going to school where you're trying to find friends, you're trying to do this, and you're trying to actually you're trying to actually how can I say it? You're trying to forget about your home life, right? And then you go to school and you're getting bullied at school. You're gonna build a hard interior, a hard shell, or a hard outer shell or outer look to yourself, because you're protecting who you are on the inside. You're protecting your heart, you're protecting you're protecting all of those things about yourself, and that's a hard thing. Like, I am raising my children to be open. Use your voice, because your voice matters. Your feelings matter. Who you are matters. You are who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hell, I embrace my children to be the nerds and to be the weirdos and be who you are, because honestly, being the weirdo and being the different one and being the nerd gets you places. And it keeps you out of trouble, and it keeps you away from things and people that are going to take advantage of you. And my children have seen that. They've seen those things happen to me specifically. So it's not something that, so it ain't nothing that I'm talking about that ain't never happened. Like I said, I had my daughter. I got pregnant with my daughter at 18. 18. I was a baby, having a baby. But I did what I was supposed to do as a mom. Did I make I did make a mistake where I thought the wrong person was her dad, and it exposed her to a lot of trauma. And me as a person, I felt horrible about it. I still do in some way, shape. I still do in some instances of the because I had, I went through those things with my daughter. So it's not something that I, didn't experience. I experienced some of that, I experienced that myself. So then to watch my daughter go through it when I was trying to avoid that and it still happened is, it really made me feel like I failed my daughter, you know. I failed my daughter. And it wasn't because I was out here I was sleeping with this person, that person, this, and the third. That wasn't what it was. That was not what it was. It's when I, the person that I was with at the time, there was a lot going on with that whole situation where, I was like 17 when I met him from a friend. Let's start there, from a friend, right? And because I talk about that, like the actual situation in the first part of the video. So I had a friend. The friend introduced us, right? The friend and him lied about his age to me. That man was 14. I was 17. He didn't look like that. Even when I met him, he didn't. So, yeah. And then by the time I actually found out, I was 18 at the time, and by that time he was maybe like 15, 16, something like that. And it was just like, huh? Like, what in the entire hell? Right? And then so it was just like, it was toxic, and I was trying to get out of it, and I was trying to stay away from it, but it was like something just kept pulling me back. I think it was more of me trying to get out of my neighborhood, and it was like a new experience for me because it was a different area, a different part of the city and stuff like that, and it gave me a way to, see and travel and all those other things. But yeah, like I was really, I was trying. And in the moment I literally decide to leave it alone, it was nothing, none of that. And maybe a little while after that, I met somebody, literally, on a random. We was talking, on the phone a few times, here and there. And he was older than me. He was a little bit older than me. And it was really a fling that I would go to see sometimes on a weekend. And I took that same friend, right? I took this friend with me to see this dude because I didn't want to go by myself. It was my first time and all that stuff. And then that was the first time. And then after that I went by myself. So I would go by myself. And the last time I went to see him, it was just weird. I didn't really want to have sex because it hurt, right? It was hurting. So I said, no, I'm cool. Don't you know that man put me out? Because I didn't want to. That man put me out, okay? Put me out. So I went home, and And I left that alone. I never spoke to him, never heard from him again, never reached out, none of that, right? And then I found out I was pregnant. And I thought the first person that I was with, because I was with him on and off for a long time, almost 7 years. So, like 6. But so I thought that's what it was. And that was how we went along. That was how it was. It wasn't me putting a baby on somebody because I didn't want this. It wasn't like that. It wasn't. Now, granted, that's how people painted the picture or whatever, probably, whatever, right? And like I said in my other video, that, I advocated for somebody that was accused of raping a girl. Raping a girl, like, I actually went to the court dates and everything. Like, do you know how disgusted I felt after the fact that he actually was doing that? And I don't know, and then not only was he a rapist, he was a serial cheater, meaning he was cheating on me with multiple girls, right? And one of them I wind up knowing. I wind up, me and her got into a random, it was a random, like, over the internet, not really over the internet, but like, inbox type conversation. That's one thing, right? I've never actually went back and forth with anybody over any guy, man, whatever. Never done it. Oh, you want to come to me as a woman? I just would simply say, oh, okay, all right, well, you can have them. Have a nice day, have a nice life, or whatever. Because I'm cool. I'm cool. And I also learned then, what I'm saying, that people don't like that. People don't like, when you're a calm person, or when you are a person that really don't argue, but you know what to say and how to say it, and you know what I mean? But other than that, right. So she actually was pregnant, right? But here's the thing. This is where I mean by I winded up realizing that a lot of the girls that I was around was being groomed by older men or by other men, because, like I said, because it's like we were lacking something from the family dynamic, from the families we were coming from. And some of them, it was actually happening in their family. Like, it was their family doing it to them or each other. And the adult knew but wanted to act like they don't know, or that they didn't know, but they did. And they knew why, why we didn't want to be around, or why this didn't happen, or why that didn't happen, or whatever. Which is also why I have one actual aunt on my dad's side that nobody talks about. And that has always bothered me, because I was around her and my other aunt, that was my mom's god sister, however, and I was around both of them growing up a lot. And one time as a child, she just, my dad's sister, she just disappeared. Like, she just disappeared. And the crazy part was, even though I was so young, a part of me knew why, or I understood why she did, because as time went on, or like me overhearing stories about my aunt, or me asking my dad, little, well, what's going on with Aunt Tiffy, and what's going on with this, and what's going on with that, and he would always say, oh, well, I don't know, she this or that, da, 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 da. Nobody is saying though that she was mentally and verbally as well as physically being abused, because she was, I don't know if she had, a learning disability then. I don't know. However, however, if you are constantly being beaten, right, from your actual family, and then you go and then you get older and you just break loose and you just cut off the entire family and you don't never come back. Yeah, I understand it. And I remember bumping into her a few times as a teenager. I remember I was pregnant with my daughter and I randomly bumped into her. And it was like the most fulfilling thing, but I was sad because my aunt was out. She's been on the street for a long time, by herself, just out here, and you know, men taking advantage of her and beating on her. Then it's like you don't get away from that because you don't know. When you don't know, you don't, if you're not, you don't have a safe family structure, right? And then you was already getting beaten on and getting talked down to and all these other things when you were around your family, from your actual family, and then you go in the street where they don't love you, they don't know you, they don't care either. So how else are you supposed to live your life, and how else are you supposed to, think about life? You know, my aunt on my dad's side, my other, like, older aunt rather, had passed away recently, and nobody knows this besides my dad and my sister and all that. But everybody in the family was on that obituary besides my aunt, besides my dad's sister. Why? Y'all talk so, y'all talk so much about family this, family that. Oh, hey cousin, oh, I love you, cousin, da 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 da. Where is my, why? Why don't y'all have stories about her and y'all talk about her, but she's not actually a part of the family to when it comes to y'all. Then after that happened, they found her daughters, because she does have, I believe it's three daughters, and then they put all on social media that my aunt has been missing and that they're looking for her and they've been trying to find her. My aunt is not missing. She don't want to be around them. And I'm quite sure she kept her daughters a secret in a way because she didn't want them to be tainted by y'all. Imagine being her actual daughters and, growing up around the family and never actually hearing about your mom. You may hear stories about your mom, but you don't see her. And you actually are not going to hear about her because they don't even speak about her. They don't even ask about her. And then You have me who who's always noticed the little kikis in the corner, the whispers, right? Behind my back or behind, our back, whatever. So, and the crazy part is I only kind of like started coming around because I wanted my kids to know who their cousins were, things like that. Because it's weird, like, you know what I'm saying. I never wanted my kids to, like, randomly go to school or randomly go somewhere and then they, don't know who their cousin is, so they wind up dating their cousin on a random. Like, no, you know what I mean. So that was my intent, but I started, like I said, I'm very observant around people. And I've actually been that way since I was a child. Like, if I didn't feel comfortable around anyone, I was quiet. I was always quiet. I was also always the person that would, when the friends in the friend group I was in, when they would bring new people into the group, yeah, I was not real big on new people in the group because where did you meet this person? What do they have going on? And what's their background? And da 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 da. And then lo and behold, the person was either a lie, either stealing, or they just, or they was, like, or they would mess around and sleep with one of they dudes, or try to talk to one of they dudes, or they would just be on some BS. And then I would get oh, I should have just listened to you when you told me the first time, and da da da. Or the times when those same girls would actually have me meet their actual boyfriends, right? And they would ask me, oh, well, what do you think about so and so, and da da da, and I would tell them, no, I don't think that's right, because and then you're like, oh no, I think he cool, and okay. But you know what? I had to learn too that I had to stop doing that because that's not my business, right? That's not my business. That's your life, right? Just like I had my own life, and I was making my own goddamn, I was making my own, fucked up decisions and all that stuff, and love and all that stuff. So you know, I learned from experience, and I would give advice based off my experiences because I never wanted no one else to go through those same experiences over and over and over again. Like, no, come on. No, 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 no. So, yeah, like abuse. And it's not even to say that one is more, one is worse than the other, because they're all damaging. It doesn't matter. They're all damaging. It really does not matter. Let me see. Oh yeah, but yeah, like, some. But yeah, That's why I said I have become an advocate for abusers, and victims of abusers as well. After becoming an actual victim, and even when I wasn't, I was still very boisterous about things like that. You know, some of the women in my own family that didn't and don't like me never knew that I advocated for them behind the scenes. They don't know that. Always question why. Oh yeah, and I always question why my two favorite aunts, my two favorite only aunts that I've ever known, were loved, in love, were treated different because of the abusive tactics, or because, because they were religious, and they're Christian and you don't believe in that and you're something else, or because you want to, because you're Muslim but you want to be Christian, or you want to be a spiritualist, or you just want to be a free spirit, period, right? You are automatically labeled as a rebel. And as somebody, and if you're not labeled as a rebel, you are automatically x'd out of the family. That's it. That's it. Like everybody look at you as the plague, or like you're like is like you're this dark cloud over the family or whatever. Yeah. Okay. My bad though, because I wrote this down and I'm trying to remember where I was. Yeah, due to family. Yeah. And we're on their own. Which also opened them up to being taken advantage of more by older men because they were actually teenagers when that happened. Both of them were teenagers. I grew up still speaking for them while also realizing I was just like them in a lot of ways, and I knew that as a child. My aunt that passed away in a recent year prior, she did not know that I knew about a lot of the things that were happening to her or that did happen to her or that I even remembered them until, I became a teenager and me and her would have our talks, and she was always a safe space for me and I actually was a safe space for her. Like, you don't even understand, like, as an adult with my own children and somebody that I actually look up to, and me having conversations with her and I'm actually giving her advice and she actually is like actually giving me my props for giving her like really really great advice and for being a really awesome mom and all of these other things, because that's a for me that was a really big thing. That's a really big thing. Like, she understood me and a lot of the things that I was going through because she's seen it. She's seen those things. Like, I was really young when I found out about, what happened to my mom. And I don't even think my mom know that I was speaking up for her as well. And because I've always been close to my grandma, and my grandma's my grandma, right? But but because I spend a lot of time with my grandma is a safe space for me, and I'm a safe space for her as well. Which means that I know a lot about my grandma that people don't know or that they do know, but I understand my grandma in a different light than other people do because I understand her. I understand who she is as a person. I understand that I actually, just like, I'm a lot like her in a lot of ways, but I'm a lot nicer. I'll say that I'm a lot nicer. Okay. But yeah, but even with that, I have spoken up for my mom in a lot of conversations between me and her as well. And even conversations with my grandmama, I've spoken up for her as well. Like, is a thing. Like, people don't never actually want to hear the truth, or even when they know the truth, they still don't want to know it, or they don't want other people to know about it. They don't want other people to know about it because it it tarnishes their reputation, even though they've done nothing but um, tear down the truth speakers, or the quiet ones, right? They don't want to hear that because it paints them in a different light than what they are perceiving, than what they are, leading on to other people. Like, a specific situation did happen, before my aunt passed away, and I did have to distance myself because my mom was hurt in the process of that. And like I said, I actually did hold her accountable for her actions as, a grown woman. However, I've seen a different picture, a way bigger picture, because of the person that it was with. I even seen something in that person that I don't think anybody did. Or if they did know, they didn't speak on it. That's for sure. Like, me as a person, right? Like I said, I take myself out of anything. Whenever I give advice, whenever I do anything, I think. I'm an overthinker. Okay, I'm an over analyst. So I'm gonna think about my feelings, my reactions, my reaction, how this person would react, their feelings, what they have going on, what they do, what they've been through for why they're where they're at now, and why we're having these conversations. So I've always been that way, which is why I've always been able to handle things in a calmer way and in a more positive way, instead of me, like, going from 0 to 1,000, and busting out when niggas windows and cars and this and that and da, 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 da. That's not me. That's not me. Cause what the like that only would put me that will only put me in a bad situation, and then I would be the only one looking stupid. Like, you know. Um, I've been a single mom for a very long time, and it's no shade to nobody, right? But I, I've without me, my kids don't have nobody. So I would never put myself in a predicament to be away from my children, or, for my children to be without me in any way, shape, or form. So it doesn't matter, what anybody thinks. It don't matter what nobody say. I could give zero fucks. Okay? Because I got full receipts on the things that I've done. I'm not a bragger. I'm not that type of person. You know, when I do things, I do it from the heart. So there's no reason for me to be sitting up here talking about what I did for this person, what I didn't do for, that's not me. That's not me. I don't need to do that. You know, I'm a firm believer in what's done in the dark always comes to the light. Your silence is a lot more powerful than people think. Your absence is way more powerful than people think. Especially if you're labeled as the black sheep of the family, please believe me. Your silence, your presence, it matters. Whether it's in a friend group, whether it's in your family, whatever, it You matter. It's you. 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 People can't do people can only do what you allow them to do. And a lot of times it's us that has to get the strength to leave and to walk away and to actually not feel guilty about doing it, not feel upset about doing it before we can actually leave something alone. People will pull on your heartstrings because they know that they can. Just because they know that they can. You know. Um yeah, like I said, I'm not perfect, you know. I have three different baby dads. Three. I do. Well, yes, I've never had intentions on creating a broken family or anything like that. I actually had a goal of losing my virginity at 23 and, all that stuff. But it happened at 18, and I was also almost 19 when it happened. So it wasn't, yeah, I was sucking dick at a young age, but I wasn't having sex at that age. I know it's really not that much of a difference, but it kind of is. Um, but yeah, I've been outgrew all of that, and this is me actually, talking about it to just help other people as well as myself fully release it. To fully release that part of yourself, because you have to. In order to change and to really grow and heal, you have to. You have to release that, because I even, once I really did start to pull away from certain things like that, or just, really just start focusing specifically on myself and really just working on my inner self, which I've always been doing anyway, because like I said, I have children and I didn't want to continue certain things that I seen in my parents, or that I've seen in my childhood, or just even around the friends that I've had or whatever. So I didn't want that. I have actual, honest, real talks with my children every day. And I've been doing that since they were young. I have a really awesome bond with my children, because not only was I here when I was at work, they knew why. They knew why. So when I did actually start to, actually start going out without my kids, or, doing little things like that for myself, it was, first of all, they got older when I started doing that anyway. Plus, it was for me to start healing me, to fully release all the people pleasing and, over giving over here and over giving over there, and, getting, and just letting go of problems and stress that did not have nothing to do with me. Like, when you are an empathetic person, you pick up on any and everybody's energy sometimes that is around you, or that you are connected to. Even if you're not, and this can be friends, like, when your friends, they call you and they dump all their shit on you, but you're more manner than them about their situation. Yeah, no, that's a problem, because now you are walking around with the grudge, or with the animosity, or whatever, right? Or with what's going on, when they done made up with the person, or they done did this, or they done did that. So at a certain standpoint, I got private about my life. The only thing you knew was that I had kids. If I was in a relationship, you've never seen them unless you see me in person. And I'm still that way. I've been in a relationship 5 years. For 5 years. So, yeah, like, and that also helped me, because I was, like I said, I was already in a state of healing. I was already healing certain things in myself, letting go of certain things. I was already, going for a certain going to really start achieving the goals that I had going on, that I needed that for. You know what I'm saying? I needed that for. I was able to release more. I was able to actually understand what it felt like to be in a safe to be with a person that made me feel safe, that made me feel seen, that made me feel secure as a person, to actually be able to be vulnerable, to actually be soft, or what soft, to actually be the soft girl, right? Okay? Like, that was where I was. So I needed that for myself. I was never a person that cried or anything. So when certain things came up, or certain parts of myself where I'm starting to feel this, feel that, and like, what is happening? Like, what is happening? Okay, it allowed me to also understand, right, that me being so independent, that there's men out here that's the same exact way, that are not really gonna want to take from you because they're the same way as you. It's like, when you kind of it's when you kind of meet your person and you mirror each other, it's like you get to see you in another light. You get to see yourself. So then that also helps you heal. That helps you learn what else you need to heal. That helps you learn where else you need, what other areas you're lacking in, that you need strength in, where your weaknesses are, so you know where to pick them up. Like, I was impulsive at that time because I was buying or just doing strictly for myself, where I wasn't really giving out too much help, like, financial wise, but yeah. So then I got to the point where, yeah, I need to, yeah, it's time. You know, I have went through two miscarriages, two, in the in 5 years, two. I've went through two. I've, you know, now I'm not a person. I don't, no shade or nothing to nobody, but I don't get fired. I I I leave. I leave. It's the same thing with relationships, with my friendships, uh with my actual, romantic relationships. It's the same with the jobs. I leave. And I will put myself in hermit mode. I will put myself there because I need to work on myself. Certain things may be happening with my kids while I'm at work and stuff like that, and then it's like one of them things where it's like, no, you need to take a step back, focus on yourself. Okay, focus on yourself, see why this is this way and what's going on here, and why this and that is happening, because I had already grew out of a lot of those abusive things, and a lot of those people, and a lot of people that were, talking down on me, or making little jokes on me and whatever. I've been past all that. I've been past all that. So any little, kikiing or whatever you was doing about me, I don't give a fuck. Because I'm also not the person that sit around talking about nobody. Now, did I used to? Yeah, yeah. But it wasn't the way that people think either. If you was out here doing dumbass shit, you was out here moving foul, or not doing girl code shit, yeah, we was talking about what you was doing, or what you, or lack thereof. Yeah. However, I was also the same person that would tell you to your face that I said this, and this because this, and this. I've, I had to grow to that also because I was so worried about other people's feelings and all that. And I used, and then people, those same people, right, would tell me, oh, she's mean. She's that. No, she's gonna tell you. She's gonna, no, no, oh, no, no. She's gonna tell you. So, no. So that is why I never, I sometimes I still don't understand why people will try to act like they don't know who you really are or why you do what you do. There is not one person that I don't talk to or that I do not associate with or anything like that that does not know why I don't. They know why. It's not anything that I did to them. Because I've actually had conversations where I was asking anyone, oh, well, I'm gonna apologize for for what I said or how I came at you because, that wasn't right. That wasn't my place, that wasn't my place to say it. You were just venting or whatever. Or I'm not going to apologize for what I said, but I'm going to apologize for how I said it. I'm actually working on my delivery for this and that and the third. So, yeah, people knew that. People knew that. They knew. And if they tell you that they don't, then they're actually lying. But yeah, I actually um but okay, this is what I made. My bad, y'all. I be trying to. I ain't even get to the cards yet. That's the part. Like I didn't even get to the index cards yet. But yes. So but yeah. So that's what I was saying. That I yes, like I actually distanced and cut people off that exhibited any type of abusive or condescending ways, or if you talk to me in a like yelling, or you talk down to me, or talking to me with an attitude or anything like that, and I'm not giving you one. Yeah, I actually check people about that nowadays because like I said, I'm not a person that I'm not gonna say I'm not a yeller because I am, but I'm not somebody that's I know how to talk to somebody because I also understand um the ways a lot of times things get misunderstood or misconstrued or turned into a bigger argument than what it is because of the tone of your voice, and I know that. So I feel like if I'm talking to you like how I'm talking to you now, because this is actually how I genuinely talk anyway, then we got a problem. Because why are you talking to me like that and I'm not talking to you like that? I'm not disrespecting you. I've never disrespected you. Not now, not before, not ever. So why do you feel the need that you could disrespect me? I've never been a person, like I said, I've never been a person that, holds on to anybody. If you don't want to be here, please leave. You know what I'm saying? If you feel that person is better for you, please go. I'm not holding nobody hostage. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not chasing for nobody. I'm not fighting for nobody. I'm not doing none of that. I've never done it. Never. And yeah, no, never. Even any, let me help you understand something, right? Any female that any of my exes cheated on me with or whatever, and I wound up finding out about it or whatever the case may be, we actually wound up being cool because I already know that. Listen, when you are in a relationship with somebody, the the person you're in a relationship with is the person that actually has, the loyalty. They're the one that owes you loyalty. Whether it's somebody that you know, whether that person know you're in a relationship or not, whether they, whatever the case, whatever, right? Um, yeah, the person that you're in a relationship with, they are the ones that hold, that the loyalty actually stands by. So if you're gonna, why fight the other woman or argue with the other woman when in all reality the this person lied to both of, to me and you. He ain't just lied to you. You mean he didn't just lie to me? You know what I'm saying? He didn't just only play me. He doing it to you too. Not just me. Do you know how many how many people I've actually kind of like counseled? You know what I'm saying? Because but see, that's a tight situation. And I learned that too. That if you'd have met these people in a different situation, yeah, you would probably actually be cool with them. Actually be real genuine friends with them. However, y'all actually we based a friendship or started a small friendship because of a guy that cheated on both of us, that lied to both of us. And you had to also put into perspective that y'all are two different people. And a lot of times they actually don't, they're not going to know that until they actually meet you, or if they actually, really, they won't know until that happens, or until you actually decide to maybe link up with them, whatever, right? They're not going to know that, and then sometimes they'll run with the whatever that this person then told them, right? And then by the time they do meet you, they still kind of stick with it because they're still with that person. And then it actually becomes, then the jealousy and the envy and all that, it actually heightens because they see that not only are you a different person than them, they also are going to see that you didn't tolerate a lot of the things that they tolerate. And then that person actually didn't treat you the same way they treated them. That creates jealousy. And then so it's like the friendship was already doomed to begin with, right? Because you were already met under false pretenses. Well, not really false pretenses, but really, you did. You know, it started off of a lie, off the lies of one person, not under genuine circumstances. Or that person reached out because they need help, not actually because they wanted to actually be a friend to you. Like, there are people out here that, I actually, went to their court dates with and all that stuff, even after I broke up with them, because I got cool with the girl. Just because she had children. See, you see what I'm saying? She had a child. And I wanted to help her get her child back. When I tell you, she was going through her addictions, and I advocated for that girl. I rallied for that girl. I cheered for her. I still do. During her sobriety, and every, when she would post about her sobriety and all those things. I love that. I love that. I still do. I love seeing people do good and do better and prosper in life because that's all I ever want for anybody. For anybody. I'm not the type of person that um just because you was on some fuck shit towards me, or you was using me for whatever for whatever, that you're not fit for somebody else. That does not mean that you can't fix your situation to be with somebody, to be better to somebody else, because there's somebody out here for me. Just because it ain't you, that don't make that don't make that's I'm not a bitter person. I've never been that way. I'm not bitter like that. Being bitter and miserable and hateful and jealous and envious of people, that it takes too much. It takes too much out of you to be that way. It takes too much. But yes, so any sign of like, I don't know, like any sign of just like any little like, oh no, you're making me feel some type, I'm gonna kind of like rearrange myself, because I'm gonna always protect me and who I am and protect me at the core, because I'm not gonna allow anybody to change who I am as a person based off of a narrative that you're going with, or a perspective, or you know what I'm saying, or your own perspective of me or perception of me, because that is not who I am. Who I am is what you're seeing, or what I've shown to you, what I've told you. Ain't no reason for me to lie. I can't lie to save my life, so why would I start? Yeah, abuse can have you feeling isolated and feeling alone. Intentionally to use and abuse you. And then you have controlling parents, mothers and fathers who intentionally hold their children back, or intentionally keep them financially illiterate, so they don't so they feel like they can't ever be independent. They always have to come back, or they always have to come to you for something. And that ain't happening. who look Yes, mothers who look at their sons as their spouses is a form of abuse as well, because that mother is going to assess any woman that comes into that man's life. And a lot of times they're gonna have the power over whether they either stay with you, how they treat you, any and everything that they do. And not only that, they're going to actually have a lot more power over that man than you think. Even when they sit up there and try to act like they don't like their mom, or that they hate their mother and all that type of stuff. No. No. A lot of times, even us as single moms, you know, uh, for some reason, depending on how you were as a mother, right? If you were the type of mom that, kind of made your child toughen up and all that stuff, that child is they're gonna respect you. You're gonna have, maybe, let me see, three things. They're gonna either respect you and, really fully understand it, or they're going to actually grow a hatred and resentment towards you, and they're going to actually mistreat any woman that comes their way. Oh, and then you have the men that are insecure and constantly need a woman's approval, or you have to constantly kind of like be like their mom. Whatever their mom did or however their mom did things is how they want you to do it. If you, they might even want you to look like their mom. And if you don't, they already swiping left or whatever they got. You know what I'm saying? They already go swipe left, pop that balloon, whatever they got going on, right? So, yeah. And then you have the men that only go after younger women or women with low self-esteem or women that have, you know, these types of situations going on. If they've been in abusive households and family dynamics, and yeah, they're it's actually an agenda. That's actually an agenda because you are a lot more easier to control or to keep under control or to, you know, lead, right? They're a lot better to lead or have in a situation where they're going to continuously do whatever it is, you know, mistreat you, cheat on you, use you, abuse you in every way, shape, or form. But you're going to stay because they're giving you, they're going to give you any small amount or the bare minimum of attention, affection, love, and all of that. And then a lot of times they're going to use sex because most women in that situation there are a little bit more, or not naive sexually, but they can be, because that's how they're going to give you their power anyway, just to let you know if you didn't. But yes, you know, soul ties and all that is really a thing. It is really a thing, and you have to really you really got to be careful and protect that as long as you can, because you got to make sure that these niggas are right. Because please believe me that you're not gonna, sometimes you're not gonna know of the family dynamic of a guy, because sometimes they're not gonna tell you, or they won't even bring you around their family so you can see. And then even the ones that do, because see, it's a there's a line, right? Because if you're private like me, you're really not gonna see that. You're only, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Most people only see who I'm dating now because of where I live currently right now. Because if I was not living here, they would not know who I'm dating, if I'm dating, what I'm doing, nobody would know nothing. Nobody would know nothing. Which most people really don't know nothing anyway. They think they know, but they don't know nothing. So that's neither here nor there, right? Um, but yeah, you have parents out here that are going to that do that. Yeah. Parents who intentionally. Listen. My bad, y'all. Yeah, I think it's so. might have actually finished this, but I don't think that I did because I know my last page was like blue. Might be here, but I think I would be. But yeah, let me make sure. Yeah, here we go. I was missing a page. I knew it. All right, but anyway, yes, parents who intentionally do everything for their children to set them up to not want a man or woman who will actually love them and show them that their parents were mentally abusing them as well as financially, or keeping their children intentionally financially illiterate so they can always go back to them or always need them. Or you have the parent, or you have parents like that who, you know, you could say, "Oh no, oh yeah, this guy asked to take me out or whatever," and if they make a smart remark, or "Oh really," or "Oh, I don't like that," then that is actually some that they're actually using that to keep you in a fear-based mindset to actually never want to date, or to actually look at any sign any and to actually look at any sign of affection, or positive compliments or positive friendship or relationship as negative. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to get um independent. They don't want you to meet somebody and get married because that person is going to, actually not really take over, but they're going to put you D, if that makes sense. If you're not already being put D to certain things, if that makes any sense. Like, yeah, I'm that person for. So they're going to do that. You know, I'm that person. Like, I've been talking to my sister about things like that because I don't want her to be like that. I want her to go out. I want her to, get friends and, live a very prosperous life because she can and she deserves it, and she has all the tools to do it. People like to look at her as she's slow or she don't know what she's doing or whatever, and that's not what it is. That's not what it is. No, it's no disrespect or nothing like that because I don't like the disrespect or people to feel disrespected, but it's the truth that, you know, um, my sister was very much verbally abused a lot as a child, and she's slowly but surely trying to come out of that and find her independence and actually find her voice where she actually is and things like that. I was, her protector, like, and I was the one that was standing up for her and standing up for myself and things like that. So imagine that at 11, 12 years old. That is what I'm doing for my sister that is, like 8, 9. You know what I'm saying? And my mom being the one that knows that these things are going on, but I'm the one being punished because I'm the one speaking up for my sister. You know, my sister, struggled with a lot of that. She went through, wanting to commit suicide and, cutting herself and things like that. There are a lot of things that people do not know, but they like to, down talk, or they like to, kiki and look at me and my family as, whatever, and it's not that. And it's not that. Like, granted, I had a great, what I'm saying, on the outside, I had a great childhood. I had all the things that I could, of the 90s. I was the only child on my block that had my own TV and my own VCR and, Barney on repeat because that was my shit, and my grandma made sure that I had, my grandma, my mom and stuff, they made sure that I had those things. However, it was a lot of other things that was happening. Like, I've had little, like some little small random situations that, as a child you think is weird or that you even thought was like, how did that even happen? That happened that make you look now like, what the hell? Like me and my sister, when the gallery was the old gallery, um, we was randomly going up the escalator and me and her fell down the escalator. And I I scraped myself, all that stuff. Yo, I was terrified of going up and down, going on escalators for a very long time. I think I had to be maybe like 15, 16 before I actually, face the fear of going back up them again, going back up them doors again. But yeah, and I believe me and my sister was with my mom when it happened. So yeah, then there was and yeah, when I was a kid, I like when traumatic things happened to me as a child, I would get like, I don't know, like these random breakouts or whatever, and I don't they call the doctor would call them like fear. I don't know, like some kind of like hives or something like that. That was fear based or something like that. Weird shit, right? And like then I had this one time, my sister, and my mom and my dad. We was coming from somewhere or going somewhere, and we were getting off the L train. Yeah, it was the L. Yeah, it was the L. And you know how the train and the platform is like that little small space in between, like when you get on the whatever. Some weird ass shit happened, and I don't know. Was it my sister? Yeah, and my sister, she falls in between it, and she gets stuck in between the thing. Her legs are stuck in there, and my ankle is stuck in there. Like weird shit, like random ass weird shit. So it's like, yeah, and then back when I was a little bit younger than that, um, my mom, she allowed me to go to the park with one of my old neighbors that literally lived, she was a daughter, I guess, something like that. And she take, we go to the park and everything, and I'm swinging. Don't y'all know I fall out the fucking swing and face all scratched up and everything. You know how long it took for me to want to get on a swing again? A very long time. Very long time. I had to be like maybe like 11ish, like when I kind of like retaught myself how to swing on the swing and all that, and then that became one of my favorite things in the world. Like swinging on a swing was my shit. Like when I went to the park, anytime I went to the park after that, that was my shit. I went to the park to swing. Like, and I would go by myself, and that's what I'd be doing, swinging. Just swinging and swinging and swinging. And that was my shit, right? And it's like, and I used to challenge myself to see, because I was kind of tall when I was little or whatever. I mean, yeah, when I was younger or whatever. So, like, I would, swing until, like, I could almost touch the leaves on the tree. And And I would be swinging, and just like, my mind would be going to so many different places, like, what I wanted my future to be, just anything, right? Because it would be like, a lot of times it would be so quiet and just so, anything. Even when I had kids, y'all, like, I would, put my little babies in my lap and be swinging, like, and just be swinging and swinging and swinging. And then my daughter is the same way. Like, and it took her a little while to actually like get it on her own, but she's the same way. Like, swinging is just like, I don't. It's just so peaceful, so like therapeutic. And the fact that did you actually realize that majority of the parks now don't even have swings anymore? And if they do, they're like the baby swings. And that is like, it's like they're they're taking away a lot of the things that bring a lot of us peace and serenity, and just, like, they're tearing down a lot of the parks. They're taking away a lot of things for kids to do, and they're wondering why there's so many of these kids out here that's shooting and killing, and that's what they're seeing. Like, what happened to the teachers, and yeah, like the teachers that would take some of the kids that they seen, that you seen was causing some problems, as a mentor. Like, what happened to that? What happened to that? It's like so many people are afraid to, nurture these children, and like, try to stir them down the right way, because some of them really just need a hug. Okay. Some of them really just need a hug, and to just be understood, and just to be listened to, you know just to listen and to understand them. That's it. Sometimes that is it. A lot of times we would, a lot of times we push our kids into, positions and things that they didn't even never want. you know I'm not gonna lie. And what I'm saying, I'm kind of glad that, I had boys, and that, my daughter was very, she listen, my daughter was 2 years old, and she would tell me, "Mom, I want to do tennis, and I want to do gymnastics, and I want to do volleyball, and I want to do soccer, and all these things, and I want to do ballet and all of that." And I actually put her in a ballet school once. It was in Lansdowne. Like, that's what I mean by, like, I've never drove. I never drove. Like, I did just recent. I did get my car, not last year, but the year before that, and I had a parked car when I got my car. So yeah, and because I put myself in hermit mode a little bit earlier than necessary, um, my baby been sitting, but that's okay, because we gonna get it. We gonna get it together. We getting it together, okay? But anyway, but yes, I've never drove. I've always, took the bus and all that stuff, and a lot of time, and that is another reason why that is another way how I actually started to distance myself from people, or I started to realize that I was the one traveling to a lot of people, going out of my way to do a lot of things for people that wouldn't have thought twice for me. That I had to really, sit with myself and be like, yeah, what benefit are you getting out of this person? What positive you mean are you getting out of this? And the only positive that I was getting from any of them was the fact that, I had bonds with their children, and I didn't ever want to break those bonds, because I understood how important the bond was and how important it is. And I was waiting for them to get, older, old enough to, reach out to me whenever they felt like it and stuff like that. And that's what I was waiting for. Now, they have smaller children too that I love and adore just as much, but I can't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that no more. And they know the love because any child, I promise you, any child that I've ever been around or that ever been around me or in my care or anything like that, they love me and they feel safe here. I've had, I've had some I've had one little girl, it was two little twins. Well, I don't think they was twins, but they was, sisters or whatever. And I watched them. The first time I watched them for maybe like a week. And the first two times, the one, she got a mouth on her, baby. And I don't do bad kids. Sorry, not sorry, but I don't do bad kids. I don't do the back talking and all that stuff. Like, I might let my, like I said, I let my kids, they talk freely or whatever when they're home and all that stuff. But other than that,